Hi, this is James Mallows, and this is my project for World Maker Faire in New York. In the future, we're not going to be building structures. We're going to be growing them, starting from something really small and making incremental changes, at each stage having a completed structure until we end up with what we wanted to build in the first place. At my booth, we're going to play with these ideas by starting from this little thing, which we're going to call a little blob, but technically it's a trigonal hosahedron, and making changes one after the other through 8 stages until we come up with something very familiar, a cube. The key to that is something called a Hamiltonian circuit, which in this example is the purple. And you can think of it as a loop railway that a locomotive goes on and circles around and around, visiting the structure. And each time it stops and makes a change, it may add some track or shift some connections. It adds to the complexity of the Hamiltonian circuit and changes the shape. And just through a sequence of changes and translations along the track, it creates a new shape without actually having blueprints or a full three-dimensional understanding of what it's doing. It's just very simple. It's like a little bit of biochemistry going on. So the two moves we're going to learn to make, one is an insertion. If you look at this as the mainline track, it's seeing this green piece as a siding, and it sees it on the right side. Let's say our locomotive is on this section of track, which we call it the current section. We're going to open it up here to do our insertion. And since this one was on the right side, let's do a siding that's on the left side. Here's one that's already 3 pieces already put together. And it attaches really just one way it can go after you open up that segment. And then close it up here. And you have to keep track of where your locomotive is. So each time it does an insertion, it gets to move forward 1. So it's now here. And we've made a different shape. And there's only one other kind of move. There's the insertion and a switch. In a switch, we move to a segment that has a right siding and a left siding in either order, and we're going to switch their positions. So to do that, a good way to start is to move the one in front back. Try to keep this in view. So I move the one in front back. Now I have to get the one in back out of its original position. And when I close these back up, I've completed the rear vertex. And then move the back one forward. And that closes it up. And look at the changes made. We've made something that resembles a tetrahedron. And there's only a few more stages, and but it's just the same 2 types of alterations that are made. So if you follow the instructions, and we'll work on that, you're going to end up with a nice cube. And there it is. You can also play with random alterations because they all work in terms of making another structure. So that's going to be fun, and I hope you can join me in Queens 22nd and 23rd of September.